Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us at this very important consultation. The Ministry of Tourism and the Discover Dominica Authority, we are honored to host this consultation with the vacation rental owners. It is an event that is aimed at strengthening the role of vacation rentals in Dominica's tourism industry. Let me first recognize the presence of our Honorable Minister, Honorable Denise Charles Pemberton, Odile John Baptist, Product Promotions Manager, Discover Dominica Authority, Jose Brown, our Tourism Consultant, Nicole Faustin, Head of Credit, Aid Bank, Mr. Michael Walter, Business Development Officer, Small Business Support Unit, Narin Murphy, Senior Relations Officer, National Bank of Dominica, Jeffrey Dura, Merchant Services Officer, National Bank of Dominica, Ms. Ramonia Williams, Executive Vice President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association. Other invited guests, our dear vacation rentals owners and potential owners, the staff of the Ministry of Tourism and Discover Dominica Authority, members of the media, good morning. Before we start off this morning, we want to invite the presence of the Lord here with us today, and to do so, we call to the podium Corey Surgington, the Quality Assurance Assistant at the Discover Dominica Authority. Please stand.
Good and gracious God, we thank you for bringing us here together today for this vacation rental seminar. We ask that you take control of our proceedings today and that the information delivered will permeate through our minds and that everything will just go as successful as possible. Lord, we ask that you take control today and send your Holy Spirit upon us. This we ask in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Corey. Better? So we know that vacation rentals play an integral role in providing visitors with authentic, immersive experiences that showcases the island's warmth and culture. And so it is our hope that this consultation will bring together stakeholders to discuss opportunities, challenges, and collaborative strategies that enhance the sector's growth and sustainability. So to open up this consultation, I wish to call to the podium the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Honorable Denise Charles Pemberton. Minister.
Good morning, everyone. Let me recognize Ms. Lisa Valmond, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Mr. Ambassador Benoit Badwil, Chairman of Discover Dominica Authority, Ms. Odile John Baptist, Product Promotions Manager, Discover Dominica Authority, Ms. Jose Brown, Tourism Consultant, Mrs. Nicole Faustin, Head of Credit, Aid Bank, Mr. Michael Walters, Business Development Officer, Small Business Unit, Mr. Narin Murphy, Senior Relations Officer, NBD, Mr. Jeffrey Durand, Merchant Services Officer, NBD, Ms. Rhea Williams, Executive Vice President of Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, other invited guests, vacation rentals owners and potential owners, staff of the Ministry of Tourism and Discover Dominica Authority, members of the media. Thank you for being here. The tourism industry in Dominica is on a rise because the secret of the most beautiful gem in the Caribbean, the nature island, is out. So this is an exciting time for our destination. Also interestingly, around the globe, travelers are increasingly seeking more than just a place to stay, but seeking unique experiences. So you, in the vacation rental subsector, can offer just that: personal, authentic, cultural experiences within a community. And Dominica certainly because of our diverse natural attractions, rich culture and heritage, warmth of our people, and being a safe destination has exactly what travelers want. So when I say this is our time, this is indeed our time. And what is even more exciting is that anyone with the drive, commitment, and diligence can benefit from this industry. This is why tourism remains one of the fastest growing industries and has also proven to be one of the fastest rebounding after any major disaster. So at the Ministry of Tourism, our strategy surrounds three key pillars: access, product development, and building resilient communities. So let's discuss these pillars. Access. Where are we today? We have non-stop service from the US on American Airlines and United Airlines, representing 46% of air arrivals to Dominica as of the last report I got for the mid-March. We have expanded ferry service. Our international airport is under construction, which means on completion, non-stop flights from major markets like UK, China, Germany, Dubai. Marina, more mega yachts, high-end guests, some of whom may desire to spend some nights in a luxury hotel or Airbnb property. So because of the critical investments of this government, we are witnessing a boost in visitors to Dominica and expect a sharp increase once the international airport is completed. But one key challenge we foresee is not enough rooms. Despite this government's strides, utilizing the Citizen by Investment program to increase our room stock, we need more. So I view vacation rentals not as competition to traditional accommodations, but as complementary partners in growing a diversified tourism sector. But we also have to focus on the quality of our offerings, inclusive of our service, amenities, let me just say the entire guest experience. Now don't get me wrong, there are different types of travelers. For example, there are people who wouldn't mind sleeping in a hammock, but there are also many guests who want to feel that after a long day of exploring, when they rest their heads, their comfort level is similar to their homes or even better. So you have to be able to either cater to diverse visitors or target a particular niche. But the information that you share with a potential guest must be clear, so people don't feel misled or, I'm going to be very blunt, duped. The reality is, as we grow, so will the postings on social media platforms. And your goal should be to keep positive reviews. So I am pleased, very pleased, that we have the lovely Jose Brown, our tourism consultant from Barbados, who has over 25 years of experience and a wealth of knowledge in the tourism industry. She has already begun working with so many of you to ensure that you have attractive packages in order to make your guests feel that they are receiving value for money. And because we are so impressed with her recommendations so far, and because she's so smitten by Dominica, we hope that she can reside in Dominica for 6 months in a year. But please don't tell her that, that's a secret. But honestly, she's going to help you have customized packages to ensure your guests have a superb experience, become repeat guests, and leave you great reviews on TravelAdvisor, Airbnb, and other media platforms. And she will also equip you with tools to effectively manage your business. In a nutshell, she will help you to increase your revenue, enhance your offerings, and highlight what makes each of you unique. And of course, some of you may need access to finance. So we have brought National Bank of Dominica and the Aid Bank to discuss financial products and specific options for you. And as I said earlier, standards, standards, standards. So Odile John Baptist will share some information on Nature Island Standards of Excellence. I can say to you One important factor for me in booking a hotel or vacation rental, I look at the pictures and I look at the bedroom and the washroom facilities. For me, the bed sheets and the pillows have to speak to me. They have to entice me to believe that they are soft. And I must have a comforter. And then I look at the ratings on cleanliness and staff response. So another important goal of this seminar is to have a dialogue with you to see how we can assist you in meeting guests' expectations by officially formalizing this subsector, ensuring that you have access to concessions and training to grow your business. So please share openly, as your input is vital to finalizing this plan. Also, we need to make it easier to access information on vacation rentals. One of the challenges we had during the carnival season is people finding places to stay. And some property owners registered very late with Dominica Festivals Commission. So we certainly have to make it easier for travelers to find your business. My fellow people, those in this room and potential visitors listening, the opportunities ahead are endless. What you need to do is tap into your creativity, don't overthink it, and don't hesitate to start small. One great thing about this industry is age isn't a barrier, whether you're a youth or senior. Also, profession isn't a barrier, whether you're a fisher, farmer, chef, year-braider, teacher, artist, herbalist, housewife, doctor, or engineer. You can find a space in this industry. You can offer a room in your home or an exotic tour package in your paradise, or create videos and reels to promote vacation rentals on TikTok. Adding value to your offering could simply mean serving cocoa tea boiled in a pot on a coal pot, or learning to make cassava bread, or being a kalinago for the day, or planting a mango tree, or learning how to make green banana mash using a turtle, or sport fishing, a canoe ride, river tubing, ginger shots at the bushram bar, or painting rocks by the river. Simple but authentic. So the most important thing is to start something. Believe you can, keep going even when it gets tough, and hold on to the hope of a brighter future. I can't say this enough. Dominica has under 2,000 2,000 rooms. St. Lucia has over 5,000 and still expanding. There is opportunity in this vibrant industry for you. And the more Dominicans who thrive, the more local resources we use, the more community packages we create, the more money that circulates in our economy. So the more sustainable our tourism, the more resilient our communities, and the more revenue for our government to provide essential services for its citizens, especially to protect the most vulnerable among us. Together, we are building dynamic Dominica. So our entrepreneurs, I want you to reflect on these questions. Do you promote, market your offerings effectively? Do you collect feedback from guests to know what you did right and where you may need to improve? Are you preparing for the growth ahead and have packages tailored to meet diverse guest needs? How can we create tourism community packages linking with others in our community? So this is the start of many forums. We have a very busy schedule for Jose that we will have with stakeholders, community tourism groups, and tourism hubs across Dominica to ensure that we are well positioned for growth. Thank you all for being here. Let's have a productive seminar. May God continue to bless our beautiful people and nation.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for that very pointed official opening to this consultation. Minister has stressed the importance of access, unique experiences, standards, and of course, the importance of hearing from you today in terms of recommendations as to how we enhance this subsector. Next up on the agenda, I wish to invite Ms. Odile John Baptist, and she will give an overview of the consultation. Odile?
Honorable Dennis Charles, Pemberton, Minister of Tourism, Ms. Lisa Valmont, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Ambassador Bino Badwell, Chairman of Discover Dominica Authority, Ms. Jose Brown, Tourism Consultant, Mrs. Nicole Faustin, Head of Credit, Aid Bank, Mr. Michael Walters, Business Development Officer, Small Business Unit, Mr. Naren Murphy, Senior Relation Officer at the National Bank of Dominica, Mr. Jeffrey Durant, Merchant Services Officer at the National Bank of Dominica, Ms. Rhea Williams, Executive Vice President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association, other invited guests, vacation rental owners and potential owners, staff of the Ministry of Tourism and Discover Dominica Authority, members of the media, good morning. The Ministry of Tourism and Discover Dominica Authority remain committed to enhancing Dominica's tourism product, ensuring that our accommodation sector remains competitive, innovative, and aligned with global trends. In December 2024, we launched the Package Development Consultancy, a strategic initiative designed to elevate local accommodations by enhancing guest experiences, fostering creativity, and improving operational efficiency. This consultancy, which is led by tourism consultant Jose Brown, is part of our broader vision to position Dominica as a premier destination for sustainable travel. Since its launch, Ms. Brown has engaged with over 36 property owners and visited over 10 sites. This was with a view of gaining critical insights to tailor the consultancy to the specific needs of service providers. The consultancy focuses on equipping accommodation providers with practical strategies to enhance their product offerings. And the key areas of support includes identifying unique property features and opportunities for differentiation, developing competitive pricing structures to maximize value and profitability, strengthening marketing and promotional efforts to attract target markets, improving systems, equipment, and human resource strategies at the properties, catering tailored action plan for seamless implementation, and measuring the impact of new strategies to drive continuous improvement. Whilst the initial focus has been on the Nature Island Standards of Excellence certified properties, this consultancy will be expanded to smaller accommodation to include vacation rentals, ensuring a broader impact across the sector. Today's session will feature a presentation by Ms. Brown covering critical areas such as emerging industry trends and guest demographics, challenges and opportunities with third-party booking platforms, enhancing business efficiency, strategies to optimize property potential and profitability, and refreshing property listings for improved bookings. Additionally, representatives from the Aid Bank and the National Bank of Dominica will provide insights into business financing opportunities, whilst the Small Business Unit will outline physical incentives and licensing requirements for property owners. One of the key objectives of today's seminar is to gather recommendations for a policy paper on concessions to support the growth of the vacation rental sector. These recommendations will help shape the support mechanisms necessary to drive investment, encourage sector growth, and to ensure long-term sustainability. We appreciate your participation in today's seminar, and we look forward to hearing from you and to the engaging discussions that will foster growth and innovations within Dominica's vacation rental sector. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
very much, Ms. John Baptist, for setting out in terms of our program for today. We're going to go straight ahead and invite Jose Brown to the podium in terms of her presentation, after which we will have a short break. Jose?
A pleasant good morning, everybody. Can you hear me well on that side? Is it okay if I go as protocol having been established? All right, I'm gonna move somebody's microphone because I need space. All right. The Honorable Minister spoke a little while ago about different types of properties across the island. You know, the smallest one with the most intimate experience, the other ones who are a little bit more fancy and have a lot more things. And as I look around this room, I see many of you that I have seen before who have been so gracious to allow me to come into your space and talk off your ears for hours at a time and to tell me all the other things that I need to do while I am here. For that, I am truly grateful and I thank you. And I haven't started my presentation, but I want to start by saying one of the best experiences that I've had since I've been here at a property is at Dan's Garden Guest House. Does anybody know where Dan is? What is it called? Yes, in a place called Sam's Gutter. One Sunday afternoon, I had to drive up to Sam's Gutter. And I first went to Golden Inn to see Santa, and I was supposed to be at Santa for 1 hour. I ended up at Santa for 3 hours because we found a lot of stuff that we needed to fix. So Dan was sitting at home waiting for 2 hours for me to get to him on a Sunday afternoon. And I felt really bad. I was like, oh my, if I was him, I was not going to wait. I was going to be like, deuces, I am out. I will talk to you another time. But he drove down to meet me first, and I didn't realize that. And he stayed and he waited and then he went back. I eventually made it to Sam's Gutter. And before I drove off, Santa said to me, "You ever went there yet?" I said, no. What should I be looking for? Your car got 4-wheel drive? I said, I've learned that it only has 2-wheel drive. Do I require 4-wheel drive? She said, I don't drive up there. I said, oh boy, this is going to be an experience. So if you've never been up Sam's Gutter, it goes like this. But the lady at the bottom of the road, when I saw it, I said, can you tell me how to get to Dan? Oh, just turn left here and just follow the road. And she said it so calmly, so nonchalantly, follow the road. I was like, what is Santa talking about if I'm just following the road? But when I butt the bottom of the hill and it started to go like this, I put the Jeep in L and prayed for everything that it did not reverse and roll right back down the hill. And I got to Dan, and if you've ever been up by Dan, the first thing that greets you is everything that he has planned. And I'm talking about him with permission. I asked him if I could talk about him today. He said yes. He has grown everything that you could possibly think of up there. Where he is located, there's a corner in the back of his lot that he's put 2 hammocks under a little tent that you could look right through the gap in the trees and see across to one of those French islands, straight through at a certain point in time of the day. And it's just a converted older home that he's put rooms in. But the one thing that stood out to me is that it is impeccable and it is immaculate. As the Honorable Minister spoke about the quality of the sheets, when Dan started to talk to me about the things that he put into his place, I started to feel like if it was my own place, and I was so proud of what it is that he had done. He said, Jose, I buy this here, the guests like this coffee, so I keep buying Cafe Bustelo. I said, you know what Cafe Bustelo is? That's one of the best coffees in the world. What are you doing? And he went on and he told me all the plans that he had. He built a pond in the front because he said people like ponds and they like koi fish. So he dug 6 feet down and put rocks and created his own man-made fountain. And I am in absolute awe. But the best part about Dan's property is the way that he has been able to integrate it into the community. Everybody in that area knows to go by Dan on a Thursday night for some kind of karaoke or some kind of party or something else. If you want something special done and created for you, he knows how to do it. And that is when we talk about, we talk about comfort, convenience, and community. It's not about the price of the thing, because Dan's room is $55 a night. And I would bet you it will probably be one of the best experiences that you have. Because he sat down there, he went and cut the 2 coconuts from the tree, and I there with my coconut in my hand and the straw. I went home with 3 mangoes, 6 guavas, some 2 other kind of fruits that I don't even remember what it is. And now you look at his plan for expansion, and the expansion is not about knocking down the building and doing something else with it. It's about putting hammocks on the top, on the higher level, so that when you lie down at night, if you want to rent a hammock, you can look out and you can see everything. So when you think about the development that you need for your property, it's not all about the bricks and the mortars and the other thing, because the experience that he was able to give to me, I made one 4-minute long TikTok video because I parked at the side of the road and made it before I left, because I could not leave without telling everybody about Dan and his little garden guest house. And that is what we want to aspire to. Regardless of the type of property that it is, that is the feeling that you want people to have when they come to your place and they go back out, because you want that content to go out into the world. Now, first slide, yes? Do we know what this is? I am going to be very offended. We don't know what this is? We do not know which stadium this is? None other than the Mecca of cricket of the Caribbean, Kensington Oval. Are we serious? Oh, I am absolutely heartbroken. Oh my goodness. Now, how many of you remember Cricket World Cup 2007? How many of you are old enough to remember Cricket World Cup 2007? See, now I'm telling my age. Now, Cricket World Cup 2007 is supposed to be first Cricket World Cup held in the West Indies. And for that matter, Barbados was supposed to hold the final of Cricket World Cup. Barbados over Jamaica, Barbados over Trinidad. We are this big and they are this big. I want you to understand that we improved and redid Kensington Oval and put temporary seating in there where it fit. 32,000 people was the capacity of Kensington Oval by the time we were done with it. But this is the first time cricket of this magnitude is coming to the region, and people are accustomed to seeing the vibes of the West Indies on TV. They're accustomed to the pretty girls, the pretty beaches, the pretty parties, the pretty everything. So you know what that meant? That when they came, they were not coming alone. So if the husband or the wife or whoever in the party wanted to come and watch the cricket, the whole family was coming. They were not in the Oval, but they were everywhere else. We are this big. This is 32,000 people and another 100,000 people who came along to tag along to be able to come to the cricket. So before the cricket came, the biggest question is, where are they going to stay? Because we certainly don't have enough hotel rooms to fit the people that are coming into the Oval. And I remember, because I am old enough to do so, the campaign that was launched before the cricket in 2007, maybe 3 years before it came, for everybody to open up a room in their house. So before the Airbnb that we know today was a thing, we've been doing this thing 20 plus years. Everybody got the funding. If you had an empty room in your house, make sure you make it nice. If you have an extra piece of land at the back and you could build 3 walls and create something, make sure you do it. If you have 3 houses in your family, everybody go and sleep in one, clean up the other 2, and open up the other 2 so that we can put them to rent, so that we can have enough space for everybody who's coming to the West Indies for cricket. Because the last thing you want to hear is, we gave the island people the opportunity to host the games and they could not take the people, right? So what we learned is that tourism is bigger than the things that you're accustomed to. We could not get through Cricket World Cup 2007 without people like you. Vacation rentals, homestays are the backbone of everything that we built that industry on. And 20 years later, we have over 4,000 vacation rentals in Barbados. It's crazy, but that is where it is. So when I take a look at what you have, next please. I look at this and I say, this is your Cricket World Cup 2007. Whereas the Oval was ours, this airport that you have opening up, right now you are, I want to say last year's stay over arrivals were about 84,000. and the goal is to get to 500,000. You know how much people between 84,000 and 500,000 by 2030? A lot. You cannot build enough rooms to accommodate 500,000 people. So what's going to happen is that a lot of that is going to fall on you and properties and smaller properties that are like you. And the reason that that is a good thing is because it helps us to spread the tourism around. Because if we keep depending on the larger properties to hold the brunt of the responsibility of everything, the experience is not the same because they don't get to see the real Dominica. You know, they don't get outside, they don't get to do all the things. I'm not saying the larger properties don't provide that experience. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying we don't want everything concentrated in one place. So we need to be able to do better than that. Why this is also important is that another goal of your tourism over the next few years is to become the #1 eco-tourism destination of the Caribbean. So when people think eco and sustainability, synonymous with Dominica. And if we're going to do that, we have to spread it around. Next slide. So let's take a look at the benefits of vacation rentals on this island. We're looking at stimulating local economies. And it's all about the money. Money is all about the money. And it's not, when we say local economies, we're not necessarily talking just about, you know, government taxation, etc. We're talking about the ability of tourism to penetrate and trickle the funds down to the smallest person in every area. If you look at a vacation rental property, you might have an extra room, an extra, you know, a little house in the backyard that you put on as a vacation rental. You have to hire somebody to clean it. Chances are you probably have to hire, y'all got so much land here, you got to hire somebody to cut the grass and trim all the fruits and all the stuff around all the properties that you have. You have, that person is now in a community, which means that the shop, the corner shop down the road has to put things in that shop that appeals to the guests that you have. They're going to spend that money. It means that the taxi driver who lives in your area, who might not get as much business in another area, now has a captive audience in that neighborhood that they can go and work with you to drive people around and do all these things. When we look at the stimulation of the local economies, it really and truly is about making sure that the tourism dollars trickle all the way down the way that they're supposed to, and that does not happen without you. It really doesn't happen without you. When we talk about spreading tourism around, Dominica is a little island, but it's not small, and I keep saying that all the time. Y'all real big. It is very confusing when you arrive from a small island like mine that it takes an hour and a half to get from anywhere without traffic. It is mind-boggling. So if we have everybody coming, for example, when we have everybody coming off the cruise ships, we don't want everybody to keep going up to Trafalgar and up in the Roseau Valley. We have to be able to put niches in different places so that we prevent over-tourism of any one particular site. Now, if we don't give people a reason to go to those places, they're not going to go. And then we're all going to be standing here in 10 years talking about, oh, we should have never done this tourism thing because we keep sending everybody to the same place. So we're looking at everybody's role and responsibility in terms of diversifying the sector, making sure that you're doing the things that you're supposed to, making sure we just get people all out, sending people up north, send them up south, east, west, everywhere, just get them out of the central to prevent the over-tourism. And then when we're looking at it, we see that vacation rentals truly helps us to support the overall goals of the destination. And it helps to support the overall goals of tourism. The other night in Lodi, I spoke about authenticity being the buzzword of the day for tourism. It is about making sure that we talk about the cuisine and the culture and the community and the content and all the fancy C's that the intellects like to talk about. We need to make sure that whatever we're offering gives people a reason to want to come back to Dominica. We give them a big story to tell. We keep telling a story that is bigger than the one that we are telling today. And vacation rentals, the types of property that you guys build and the way that you're able to execute the service that you do and the experiences that you do, I am legitimately in awe of all that I have seen so far that you're able to achieve. So next slide, please. So the real question is, why am I here? Like, seriously, why did they bring me here to talk to you about all of these things? And I'm here for two reasons, so we're going to start with the first one. As I said before, Cricket World Cup, the airport is your Cricket World Cup, your reason, your raison d'etre. And when the world truly understands what Dominica has to offer, when I tell you they'll be knocking on your doors like there's no tomorrow. Right now, you might not be able to get anybody from Expedia to answer your telephone call. You certainly don't get anybody from Booking.com to answer your telephone call because you're not big enough. But when the island explodes and everybody sees, oh my goodness, there's this little island in the Caribbean and we can make money there, the amount of emails that you're going to start to get for people who want things beyond this because I'm the best, do this because I'm the best. I need to prepare you for that. And I'm not just saying so because I am here I worked in the belly of one of those beasts for 5 whole years. So when I tell you, I know that they're coming and how they're coming, and I need to prepare you so that I can protect you from the outside world a little bit. That is exactly what it is that we are going to do. Now, I've been here since November. And one of the things when I go into the properties that we take a look at is how you live on the booking spaces. We take a review of how you're getting your business, where the business coming from. Are you set up correctly? Are you doing the right things? And the reality is that along the way, we found a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that can be done better, and we need to fix it. You need the companies, but you also need to be able, balance, it's all in the name of balance. And I want to make sure that we're achieving balance when we're looking and we're working with these overseas companies. We don't want you to be on the losing end of any relationship. So that's my first round of babbling, and now it's for you to babble back to me. So let's talk a little. Next slide, please. How many of you are on Airbnb? That's like all, almost all. How many of you are featured on Booking.com? How many of you are on Verbal, or as you might say, VRBO? And how many on Expedia? So I want you to tell me, choose a platform, any platform, and tell me the worst experience that you're currently having. What are your pain points and your problems with the platform that you are working on? Don't pretend that you don't have any, because I know that that is absolutely not true. And do not be shy, because this is not the forum for you to be shy. I will call you out. Yes, please. Booking.com commission? Commission on Booking.com is 15%? No, Booking.com is 15%. Or 18, depending on if you decide to be a preferred property. So, hang on, we need a microphone so that everybody can hear what they're saying. So let me repeat what the first response was. Booking.com on commission at 15%. Carla said it is, then if you're a preferred member, it's an extra 3%, so you go to 18%. And then we have Genius. If you opt in to the Genius program, then wham bam, another 10% gone, and you have not sold a room yet. You are down 25% at this 25 to 28% at this point in time. So that's problem number one. Anybody else? Yes.
Right now, I have no Airbnb, and someone is doing a Booking.com for us.
All right, hold on a second, right? May I have your name first, please?
My name is Anne Savre Marie of Safari Apartments in Portsmouth.
Right, I will call her Safari Apartments because I did not understand the first part of that. So, why y'all like that? From the time the first thing goes wrong, you know what your instinctive reaction is? Shut it down. Shut it all the way down. I have had this conversation so many times. You don't like it, you shut it down. I'm like, how do you turn off the money? You can't turn off the money. We gotta fix it so you can get the money, but you can't turn it off. Why y'all spiteful soul? Shut it down. Mask of sorrow.
Well, I feel Airbnb that earning and not me. That's how I read it.
I get you.
So that's why I'm moving away from Airbnb. I'm going to Booking.com, and someone is
You
doing
are
that for
going
us
from
presently.
the mouth of the beast to the belly of the beast.
I
I'm telling you, it is no better.
So
We will tell you how to fix it.
So how come I have not seen you? I know Miss John Baptist here know me, and we have not seen you.
I've been up your side, so I don't know. I do not write my schedule, so I will put all the blame on Odile and Deslin. They will figure it out. Not me, but I've been up your side for sure.
And you must
Anybody
pass
else?
by me to go to orders.
Yes, please.
I'm not sure if it's the exact point that I'm about to make, that if that's what you're talking about. But one of the disappointments in terms of Airbnb and VRBO, when after you get a booking, sometimes you have to drop your price because of competition. And let's say you get one booking, and maybe you charge $60, 60 US for a night. When it comes to NBD, they have to take 35 US from
Transfer
it.
fees will kill you from the MBD. That's why I was like, yeah, you
No.
better sit down in front here because we can talk to y'all today.
No, I heard that somebody from NBD here, MBD here, right?
Right in front of me, I got you.
Thank you very much. And if we are here to build up that sector, that is already a big disappointment. Because if you make one to every booking you get, let's say you get 2 bookings for a month, and all you have to take 35 US on every transaction that come into my account.
Hold on.
That is robbery.
Let me slow it down and translate it for the gentleman in front of me. Hi, gentlemen. What is being said is that when a reservation is made on Airbnb, let's say the booking, the owner charges $60 because they're smaller properties, so the rates are not high. First of all, Airbnb takes out their 3% plus the rest that they add on anyways. And then they have to send the money via transfer. Previously, they used to be able to send it via PayPal, but they shut that down for some reason. But now they're sending it via bank transfer. So if he gets one reservation from Airbnb for the entire year for $60, when the money comes through the bank, he loses $35 on the transfer fee. Yes. No. So I'm just saying that's what the complaint is. Don't worry, there's more NBD on my list. We will get back to you. Sorry, hang on, hold on.
And
Mike is
I
over
also
there.
had one more thing I forgot to mention it, but it has to do with Booking.com. I would really like to see, you see, like for Airbnb and VRBO, they take their commission before they send you your amount.
Yes.
I have no problem with that.
Booking.com
I wish,
doesn't
but for
work
some
like that.
reason, there is not. Booking.com doesn't do that.
So Booking.com does not work like that, especially in our region of the world, and it is specifically because they get to market it better. Because they're able to go online and say, one, you don't have to pay up front, you don't have to do all of these things. And the marketing that they're able to put behind it gives them a competitive advantage against Expedia and the others who take your money up front. They will never give us that opportunity so that they will take the money because one, it's more work for them, they have to do more, it's more bandwidth required, and our region just probably does not make enough money that it hits on to the other regions that they would do it for. They're very willing to take our money, but they're not going to be very willing to help us make it. And that's something that we have, to be okay, but not okay with. It's what we're living with right now. Yes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kewan O'Brien at Pelte. I run my own company, Throne Room Realty and Property Management. I host at least 10 different properties. My preferred platform here is Airbnb. It's just convenient, and for one, I find the app is easier to maneuver. Bookings.com, on the other hand, I've had like 4 terrible experience with them, especially persons booking and they are no show and not knowing the procedure and having to pay Bookings.com a commission and not even receiving the guests. So that is a big problem. I've also had double booking and they're still asking me to compensate, or they're still charging me because their app didn't work properly and I have to pay a commission. And I've had quite a few bad experiences with Booking.com, so I am in the process of just shutting them down totally and stick to Airbnb. The transfer fee, the wire transfer fee has always been a little sticker for me. During heavy periods like, let's say, Creole Festival and Carnival, when I get payments from Airbnb, you would have like 10, or sometimes I have one property with 3 different accommodation, 3 different apartments. So when I get that money, because it's from different properties, I just share that 35 US equally. So it makes sense. But as he said, when 2 nights at 60 US or 100, even at 110 US, it's a lot. So for me, I'm not sure what NBD can do about that, or if it's just, I have worked with other companies and I know once you receive international wire transfer, there is a fee, but I'm not sure what they can do for us because already it's not as booming as we want. We are getting there, but in the interim. So I'm not sure if how we can establish a US account or something to make it more convenient.
Hold on. Before you sit and before I go to Yana, I'm going to say this with love. Please do not take it personally. Every issue that you identified as a problem with Booking.com is a you problem. It's not a Booking.com problem. They have their own problems, but the ones that you identified is a you problem. And it is a problem, and I want to say this, what I have found is that y'all put a lot of trust in these companies. They tell you to do X, you're like, yes, I will do X. They tell you, you need to put Genius or you need to put whatever on. Okay, they know what they're talking about, so I will do exactly as they say. And I want to tell you this, the only people they care about is themselves. Yes. The only thing that matters to them is the money that they get to take home and the competitive edge that they get over the other companies to stop them so that they book with them and not with the other person. So we're gonna get to how that is a you problem in a little bit, because that is the same problem everybody in this room had that we've been fixing since last November. So it is definitely, because you're not exposed to these platforms on a regular basis, it is just a lack of experience. And it is, you have a naivety where you believe that they want to help you, they do not want to help. If you do not remember anything else I tell you here today, just remember this, they don't want to help you. They want to help themselves. To help themselves, you must sell a room. So what if they take all your money, that's okay, because they sold the room and they can report it in their numbers and show all this market growth and market penetration, and that is what matters the most because it helps them with their long-term marketing. Okay? Yes, Yana. Over here. Oh, sorry. Can you get a mic on this side?
So, my name is Yana. I'm from Le Petit Paradis. We were having that problem with the 35 US based on every transfer that was on Airbnb. But it was Bank of America that was taking that percentage. So what we did to, combat that issue is that instead of transferring the money after every reservation, no, we're transferring the money when it reaches a certain point. So for example, if we made $1,000 on Airbnb, that's when we will transfer the money. So the 35 US will come out on the $1,000 and not on the 60 US, So yeah, that's how we solved that problem. It wasn't NBD.
That's
because we went to NBD.
Yana, That's a luxury that you have because you actually get to the stage of getting $1,000 worth of bookings. So for the others who get a one-off and a one-off and a one-off, it's still we have to find a solution for that.
But that is if
No, we sharing licks. They can hold these ones for now because I want to give them some more. I want to put a little pressure on this side. Don't do that. Just let me put the pressure. Yes, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Hervé, and I would talk today with my hat of this year's DHTA Director of Accommodation. I agree with what you said, and I would add that none of these platforms is good, but they are all good.
Yes.
So when you have a problem with Airbnb, your neighbor will have a problem with Booking.com, and the house in the other side of the road will have a problem with VRBO. I have no doubt about that. I agree with you when you say that sometimes the problems are your problem and not their problem. Just to give an idea, if Booking.com takes a commission on a no-show, it's because they have cash. It's because they have cash, or you should have. So they take their commission, let's say 18%, on the money that they have, or you should have cash for them. So it's fair. Now, I just wanted to add one thing. The only thing I wanted to add is the following. Some people consider that these platforms are taking big commissions. And I have always seen it the opposite way. I don't think they take 15% commission. I consider they give me 85% revenue. And that's number one. And number two is when you think commission, we are small enough, we are enough a niche in Dominica that when you think of these platforms, just commercially, why would you see the commission taken on a fair and lump sum amount? To give an example, what prevents you or what forbids you, if your average price you want to get is $100, why wouldn't you have a $100 rate on your own website for a direct sale, and not, why wouldn't you have $125 on Booking.com? And I speak a lot with people about that, and I regret that people think, as you were saying, that they have to follow the rules of these platforms. I sincerely don't think so.
By professional training, I'm a hotel revenue manager. For those of you who don't know what a hotel revenue manager is pretty much a hotel economist. We study supply and demand, and we make people a lot of money all the time. That's the easiest way to put it. So I agree and I said I came from the belly of one of those beasts for 5 years. So in all of the things that we talk about, I will teach you all the tricks that you need to learn to beat every single one of them, because we must win. We will not keep losing, we must win. And that's one of the intentions of this consultancy, to make sure that I prepare you for those beasts when they rise up for real and say, "Ooh, there's money in Dominica." You had something to say? Yes? I can't hear you.
My name is Ernestine, and I'm new to the industry. And we're in the process of doing research.
Yes.
And so my research, I agree with the last gentleman, do your own website. However, Airbnb, although they charge a 3% commission, there is a positive side where they give you liability, insurance liability, in case something happens to your guests as well. So I wanted to know if that is a fact.
If they say so on their website, legally, that is a fact.
But I guess, but is that...
Operationally, it could be a lot of different things to invoke those things, but legally, if they state it, it is a fact.
Yeah, and is it worth it? Yeah.
I want to run through a couple of things. So if we look at Airbnb, yes, please.
Sorry, I just wanted to add something else. just to touch on her first, it does not negate you from having your own public liability insurance, for sure. And I just want to say about the platforms, because I've worked with these platforms for years, and it's nice when you can charge the guests on your card, because you will pay a 2.75% merchant fee, as opposed to paying the transfer fee when you get the money from the platform, the OTA. So I prefer to use Booking.com because of that. Also, it's very time consuming, it can be, but as you said, if you are using it regularly, practice makes perfect. But we have to remember, not only do they have the guidelines and tutorials on YouTube and guidelines on their site, there are also forums. So you can also go on the forums of the OTAs to see what other people are experiencing all over the world. And it's amazing what you can learn from that. Because they advertise you to do something, as you said, doesn't mean you have to do it. For instance, the Genius. They trap you into the Genius, and then they do special promotions on top of the Genius where they do a discount, then you have to do a discount, plus you have the commission. So at one point I found I was paying a 35% off my rack rate, my public rate. So you have to really look at what they offer. I think for operators here, you have to look at what they're offering you and not be sucked in too quickly to that. I also still have the opportunity to use PayPal for Airbnb. Now the problem is that PayPal's cost again, I think it's 4.2 or something.
But some people it's 5. Sometimes it adds another 5%.
Yeah, but also PayPal does not send money here very cheaply. So what I do, I use PayPal to pay Booking.com. So when Airbnb pays me to PayPal, I use the PayPal to pay Booking.com. So that's one set of transfer fees.
So you don't bring home the money, you just keep it outside and let it work. Oh, that is brilliant.
Precisely. And one last thing I'd like to say, there is a little square button when you're paying your invoice. Open up your invoice, see the breakdown, and click on the dispute box and dispute that crap. You don't have to pay it. You start to dispute it, it's not in their interest to start going into the manpower. Look at it, and then they say, oh, I see what you mean, they take off that charge. And you could save hundreds of dollars by clicking on that little box. That's just wanted to add to those conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
sorry, my name is Carla Armour. I have Harmony Villa. We have Harmony Villa, among other things.
So if we take a look at Dominique on Airbnb, there's just under 800 listings on Airbnb for Dominica. You wouldn't think so, but it's a lot. You've got 800 listings. The issues that we have identified so far is that within the back end of Airbnb, sometimes they like to tell you, properties in your area are charging this, you should charge this. And a lot of you are like, okay, Airbnb, thank you for your guidance, I will charge this. What are y'all doing? Right? We don't ever do that. Ignore. Just ignore. Leave me alone, we're not doing that. Because you have... Oh no, we're getting there, don't worry. We're coming real bad. So now you have Airbnb telling you what to charge because they think that the area should charge $25. How are you going to live on what is $25? What's that going to do for you? It can do absolutely nothing for you. And then they're adding on their side the extra 15% because they're now, making more money off of your property than you are. And then for those of you who are doing the direct business, you're then saying, well, I know my property is not worth $25, but I don't dare tell Airbnb that my property is not worth $25. So you let Airbnb sell it at $25, and then you sell it direct for $50. You cannot compete with yourself when you make yourself more expensive than the other platform. So we have to take a look at the way rate parity and price integrity and all those things play out, because I agree, at a certain point in time, you have to stack the odds in your favor so that you can convert those reservations as direct bookings, because it's the cheapest type of reservation that you will ever get. Now, we go to Booking.com, and Booking.com is the biggest producer of room nights into Dominica. The reason behind that is that Booking.com is a European country. It's Dutch, which means that all the Europeans, all they know is Booking.com. And if you're getting boatloads of people coming from the French islands, you know what they know? Booking.com. So by default, you have no control over the fact that Booking.com is the number one producer to your destination. That is completely out of your control. You cannot change that. It's literally based on the people who are coming to you and what they are familiar with. Now, the problems that I've seen that we've tried to fix on Booking.com is that all of you are on there saying, I don't need a credit, you do not need a credit card to pay me. I will take your cash on arrival. And then when the guests don't turn up, how you can charge them? If you never took a card and you said you could come on the day and pay, you have no recourse. So everybody that I have been to, we've changed all of that. We're not doing this. So one, we've set up cancellation policies. We've put on Booking.com, you cannot cancel this reservation less than 7 days prior to arrival. And why did we go with 7? Because I'm assuming by your labor law, you cannot change your roster within 7 days. So at 7 days, if you can't change the roster, then you are depending on the money that is coming within the next 7 days to take care of the bills that are happening within that time frame. So you know what happens at 7 days? We say you can't cancel, and if you cancel, it's 100% penalty. We taking all the money. We're not playing, because you might not come, but I still have bills to pay. A lot of you don't believe that you could change these terms. And when I change them for you, if you see the squirms, and I say this to you, if I were in Barbados, it would be 45 days, 100% penalty with 0 remorse. So be very happy that I told you to put 7. And I support the 7 because you don't have the airlift. You know, there's a lot of things that do that, but for the time you get to airport, I'm gonna take a change that to 30. Because then you're operating in a different economic bracket. But right now, we admit that they still have the upper hand over you, so we're gonna play a little bit. We're gonna play a little bit of hardball, but not where it costs you anything. We're trying to protect your money. Because if you run through your Booking.com reports in the back, I want you to go and add up how much money you actually lost on those no-shows and those late cancellations that you have nothing. Not just count the money that you did not collect, count the staff that you paid to clean the room, the staff that you paid to turn up to check in, the guests who never turned up. There's so many costs attached to bad policies that I need you to pay attention to the policies. The issue now that we have from an MBD standpoint is that not enough of you have the credit card machines. So I talking to them right here, right now for you, don't worry. So you have a situation where we've put the policies in place. The policies are in place to say, when these people come, we've set it up to say, when the guest makes a booking, we will charge you before you arrive on this island. But we can't charge them if they have no mechanism to charge them. We want them to generate more direct business, and we can't do it because you also don't have a payment gateway. That link that you have to tell people that when somebody books, send them back a link, that is bad business. It does not work. So please to take that back to whoever needs to fix that, because if we are growing this industry, you are an Achilles heel in our ability to make the money that needs to be made so that everybody can live. So now we move on. I'll come back to the... Yes? Yes. We will work on the payment. You will talk about all of that when you come. You heard the question. When you come here, you will have that question. So hang on. Let's go through the verbal. Now, many of you don't work on verbal. And the difference between verbal and Airbnb is that verbal is an Expedia. Verbal is a part of Expedia. And verbal only hosts entire units. So for those of you who have multiple rooms in a place, you can't put that on verbal. You can put a whole house, a whole apartment, as long as it is the entire structure, you can put that on verbal. But the difference between Airbnb and verbal is 800 properties on Airbnb and 160 on verbal. You are not paying for the visibility, and you're not paying for the exposure. It is the freest form of advertising that you can get. so that when somebody Googles you, even if you don't have a direct website or a direct social media page, they need to be able to find you on every single platform that exists. So this is me telling you, get over yourself. If you've had a bad experience with them before, suck it up, because you know what? You cannot afford the marketing for the product. You can't afford to pay the social media spend. You can't afford to pay the SEO spend. So you need to use these platforms and leverage all of their billions of dollars that they're spending on you to make sure that until you can, and until we have something that's better, that you're getting as much visibility as possible for those conversions. So they are a tool that I need you to activate and use as best as possible. This is not question time. It's time for me to babble. And then we go on to Expedia. Somewhere along the line, Expedia convinced all of you that you need to sign a contract for 25% and a 10% package saving and all of these things. Every person that I have been to, we have asked for recontracting. Said, no, we're not doing that. We do not have an airport that supports enough airlift for me to pay you 25% commission. Come back in 3 years. But right now, we are going to operate on 15%. And we're changing everybody's business model on Expedia out of that ETP, EC concoction so that they operate the same way that Booking.com does. And you bring down your commission to 15%. But these are not things that you necessarily know that you had to do. I visited a property who was set up since 2016 and has not changed a package or a promotion in 9 years. And they have a lot of stuff set in the platform since 2016. And then they keep adding to it. So all these things doubling up. So when you start with a rate of $70, and then you get $27 in your pocket after everything is done. And then the first thing that is said to me is, Expedia's carrying away my money. I said, no, that's you. They didn't put this stuff in the back. You did. You did because somewhere along the line you allowed it to convince you that that's what you needed. You don't need it. So we sat and we took out everything. We unpicked the entire system. We made it back to 70. So now for sure you can see what is what. And we start over from scratch. And a lot of you need resetting. Do not be afraid to go in and Mask of Zorro, turn off everything and see what it looks like and start from the beginning. You have to understand what's in there. Play with the system so that you can get the best out of it. Next slide. So everybody said the problem is the pricing because y'all don't know how to price. Next one there. Right. So what I've had to create is this little baby here because we know we have to play with the systems. We know that the commission ranges between 15, 18, 20%. We know that they say that if you're on Genius or on Members, that you get extra visibility into all of these people. They could give you all the reports to say that 90% of their people but Genius. They will tell you all the sweet nothings in your ears so that you could participate in these programs, right? But you are putting a basic rate in there and not putting any cushion on it. So what we've built is a tool that pretty much tells you what you need to charge based on your occupancy. So across the top of this thing, where it says full year's expenses in XCD, is most of you don't understand what it actually costs you to run the place. Because it's attached to your house or attached to something else, you can't tell me, okay, the electricity on this unit is this, the water on this unit is this, when it operates for 30 days, it is this. So we have to get familiar with those numbers and the way that those numbers work. So we take a look at how much money we've spent for the entire year to run your property. We put it in the top and we say, okay, if I run 100%, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, etc., what do I need to charge? And then we say how many rooms you have, and then it gives you your break-even rate. So your break-even rate is very different to your vanity price. This is the lowest rate that you can ever sell so that you can cover the cost of the stuff that's going on in your business. So once that comes down, we do a lot of fancy numbers on the bottom and say, yes, Booking.com, I am going to participate in your Genius, but it's not coming out of my pocket though, it's coming out of somebody else's pocket. And you stack it, you add the cushion onto it, so you get all the cross-outs and the participations and all the campaigns and all the fancy things that they tell you that you need to be successful on their platform. Using this worksheet here builds up the cushion so that they win and you win because you are now able to participate and play the game the way that it is supposed to be played. So we've put this in a bunch of people's things already. Whenever I get to you, we will do this, or I will do a video and show you how to use it so you can use it at home. So pricing is our biggest problem. And it's not the rate that you want to get, it's the way that you load the rates that is the biggest problem, because you're not giving yourself any wiggle room whatsoever to be able to win. So I want to move on to, I will send this, I will give this to the DDA to send so that you can get it from them, yeah? Now, next slide, please. I want to talk about a couple of best practices. And the first best practice, I have permission from Jackie Emmanuel to talk about all the stuff that we did at her place. I am not talking about anybody's business without their permission. Now, Jackie owns New Providence in Maho. And driving up to New Providence, I got lost on the last turn because Google Maps was not necessarily as clear. So I ended up going over the bridge, around the corner, and a lot of things that I did not need to be doing. So when I told that to Jackie, in about 3 weeks, she sent me 2 pictures with 2 new signs. New Providence arrow, and we fixed that. And I bring that up because a lot of you need signage. You need to be able to direct the people to get to where they're going. It's like the signs start and then they drop off, and you're guessing. And not only do you need signage to help guide people to get to where you are, you need to make sure that you're properly mapped on Google Maps or Waze or all the things. We need to make sure that your location is accurately pinned. So Jackie here has the original house of Providence, and she built 2 apartments on the top. When I went to visit Jackie, she was selling the house as a 4-bedroom house that sleeps 10 people at $125. I said, Jackie, is this summer camp? This is not summer camp. We are not running summer camp, so let's fix this right now. Because that is the rate that Airbnb told her that is competitive. And not knowing any better, she's like, okay, let me do this. Now, in Jackie's house at the bottom, she has an original house that has 3 bedrooms, and then over time she'd added on one in the back that made a 4th bedroom that was closed off by a door. So I said, Jackie, first thing we turn this 1 property into 2. Close the door. You now have a studio in the back that is a completely separate listing, and in the front, you don't have any storage. So we're going to close the smallest bedroom off and use it as a storeroom, and put the front as a 2-bedroom because it's only 1 bathroom. It is a lot easier and a lot more palatable to sell a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom than it is to sell a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom and have so many people chuck up tight under each other. So we completely reconfigured Jackie's place. In the front wraparound balcony, Jackie had every piece of furniture that she owns outside because she's looking for 10 people to come. So it's prepped for 10 people to come. So I'm like, no. We're taking out this chair, this chair, this chair, because you got to look at the optics of when I drive up to your place, right? Some of you have a lot of things and you like to show me that you have a lot of things. I don't need to see everything all at once. So the ability for her to close off one of her bedrooms means that she can hide things. She no longer has to have a container on the bottom of the road or a room somewhere else and pay somebody to drive up and down. She can close that off. But we also are now able to convert that into a 3-bedroom and just open up the back door if somebody wants a 3-bedroom. And we've increased the price. So now we sell the studio at $100 and the 2-bedroom at $125. And when you open the doors, $225. She's now $100 up on what she was charging for 10 people to stay in one place. When we go up the top by her apartments, one of the things that we do is to look around and look at the functionality of the flow of the apartments, and they're extremely well done. But again, Jackie has a lot of furniture. I was like, Jackie, no. There's no path here. People come here if you understand your guests, where people come for longer lengths of stays. There was no desk to sit and write at. There's nothing for you to do certain things. I was like, Jackie, really? I would get rid of this, put a sectional in this corner, put a desk right there, hide those wires. And in 2 weeks, Jackie said, Jose, I buy the thing at Quartz. And she sent me the Quartz receipt for the sectional. And she has completely reconfigured this. Now, obviously, as you change things, people who are accustomed to your property will get a little upset. Let them get upset. There's going to be teething problems. because guests who were stalking her on Airbnb and saw the difference in price, oh my God, the price has gone up. I said, Jackie said, yes, yesterday's price is not today's price. That is exactly what we tell them, because it will only last so long. Once you get through the first wave of people who were accustomed to seeing you in a certain place, the others don't know any different. They will learn to adapt. But what we also did at Jackie is that we sat down and for the next 2 years, looked at her occupancy, the way that she runs over Carnival, the way that she runs over Creole Festival. And many of you do not make any adjustments over demand periods. The same price for Carnival is the same price for when it empty, the same price for everything. You do not tell the guests, listen, if you want to come at my place for Carnival, you better be coming here for 7 nights. You allow them to book 1 night, 2 night, 3 night, block up the space, and then you can't make any other bookings because you gave it away for 3 nights. So we sat down and we built out these blocks to say, if you are coming here from the 24th of October, because Carnival was already done, that was done, we couldn't change it. Creole Festival, if you're coming here on the 24th of October, if you arrive on the 24th, you cannot stay here for less than 5 nights. If you come on the 23rd, no less than 4 nights. And we built some kind of surge pricing in here where we said, add on 20% onto this rate because they're coming. You have to execute the revenue management behind the rates. So when the demand is high, make your money. Don't just fill it out based on the occupancy, optimize the pricing behind it. Don't get greedy now and gouge the people. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever. You have to understand the value of your product and what people are willing to pay. Go into the back ends of these systems and make sure that you account for all of those things. So now Jackie was only on Airbnb. I was like, well, you need another channel. She doesn't have a credit card machine, so we couldn't put her on Booking.com because she can't collect the money. So we went for Verbal. From the time you go to sign up for, so when we go for Verbal, we can't sell the studio, we can't sell that first concoction, we have to sell the entire house. So she has one less listing on Verbal than she does on Airbnb. But what you don't understand is that Airbnb allows you to link all of these other people via their iCal links. So many people are concerned about not having technology and having to manage 3 different things all at once. But if you use Airbnb as your brain system, and you sign up on Verbal, Airbnb gives you a link to put into Verbal, Verbal gives you one to put back into Airbnb. So when it sells here, it closes out there. When you sign up for Booking.com, Airbnb does the same thing on Booking.com. So Airbnb is your brain. Everything feeds into that. And you have not spent a cent on any kind of technology. You are using the same technology. So if you are concerned about the 15%, they're working for it. So we need to make sure that we're using the system so that they're working for it. And those are the types of things that we're looking at when we go into the properties to make sure that you are making the most of everything that is available. The next one. A quick second best practice here is at Golden Inn. I find that you guys don't split out your accommodation. So Santa has a 2-bedroom with 1 bathroom. But when she put the rate up, it was just a 1-bedroom price. And when the people come and bring in 2 extra people, you try to negotiate more. You cannot negotiate more money with them after you've sold the room, okay? If it is not there at the beginning when the booking is being made, it is illegal for you to charge them any more money when they arrive. So what we ended up doing is to splitting out her 2-bedroom into 2 separate listings, a 1-bedroom option and a 2-bedroom option. On Airbnb, what we then did is to get the iCal link from the 1-bedroom to talk to the iCal link from the 2-bedroom so that if one sells, the other one sells out. So you don't have to manage the inventory. So there's so much stuff sitting in the back of these things that help you to be a little bit more in tune with what's going on. And by being able to sell these different configurations, it means that you're attracting different guests in different price brackets, and you get to see who your accommodation speaks to and what type of people are coming to you based on the pricing. Now, I really soon done. Next slide, please. The next reason as to why I'm here is on packaging. I am here to make sure that we are packaging things properly. And this is the blurb. For those of you who I've been to before, you will hear this blurb, and this is how the blurb goes. Normally when you come to Dominica, you think about 6 things to do. And when you get here, there's 6,000 things to do that you never knew that were available to be done. And one of 2 things happens. 1, you are upset because you didn't plan for the time to be able to try 6,000 things. And 2, You don't have the money because you didn't budget to do 6,000 things. So when it comes to packaging, packaging is about education and telling people all of the things that are available before they come, which means that the information that we are putting out for the research abilities of the island is not strong enough, because we're all coming with the mindset of the same 6 things. I told you earlier I come from a small island. Nobody ever told me that it takes an hour and a half to drive from one side of this island to the next side of this island. When I look at a map, there's another small island that's 20 minutes. Everything for me is 20 minutes. I didn't know that before I got here, and I am your neighbor. So imagine the people who are on the other side of the world, the way that they interpret the information, because they all think all the islands are small and everything is the same. So we're looking at the way that we differentiate that and educate our guests to be able to make the decisions that they need, because we need the money to trickle down to everybody. So when you hear packaging, you could go to the next one. When you hear packaging, the way that packaging is currently done is we come to you and say, hey, we have a campaign, can you send me a package? And it is now your responsibility as a property owner or hotelier to sit down and create something and send it in so that it is marketed. The issues with that are you are going to sell the same thing all the time. You get into a habit of familiarity. This is easy, so I'm going to continue to do this time and time again. What happens with that is that the other attractions or the other places or the new businesses that you might not be familiar with never get a chance. So for that reason, we believe that packaging should not be the responsibility of the properties. You can sell as many packages as you want, but at the destination level, the packaging has to be different. It has to be more dynamic. It has to be more robust. It has to be intuitive. The storytelling that lies behind it has to tell you, why should I choose Dominica over St. Lucia? I can have an option of 6 different sulfur springs, or I can have 1. I can have, my wellness story is a little bit more advanced. My adventure story has, the deepest adventure you get in Barbados is diving. But I could go canyoning, I could do all of these things. But those are not the way that we put things together, and that's how we have to start putting things together. We have to tell the guests what is available, give them the option to curate their own packages based on how we lay the information out, so that then they know all of the things that are available, whether it's families, honeymoons, weddings, all of the things, location-based, everything. And that's what we want to work on when we talk about packaging. So I'm going to finish here soon, quick. So when we do this, we're looking at choosing an experience, right? If somebody's coming for adventure, what do you put together and say this is an adventure package, this is a wellness package? What are the options that are available? And next, so when I talk about package, this is what I'm saying. We choose an area, whether it's geographical or whether it's a theme, and we tell them on day 1, this is my ideal start to Dominica. I call it touchdown and takeoff. Because you know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of landing at the airport and driving straight to Roseau. Nobody don't ask me if I want to go to Calabishi. They don't ask me if I want to go to Soma Garden. They don't ask me if I want to stop at Spani or Jacko. And they don't ask me if I want to stop and sip 3 rums to take my life at the Bushram Lady. There is a direct path from the airport to Roseau. If I arrive on this island before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I need to make a stop. My experience needs to start from the time I touch down on this island, because what happens is that when you bring me down to Roseau, I sit down in my room and put up my feet for the rest of the day, and as my first day is dead. No money has left my pockets to go to anybody else on this island. That is it. I might go to the fresh market, because right now that's the only thing that I would know at that point in time, right? So when we talk about the packaging, day 1, we touch down. We work with Digicel and Flow and give you the option to get an eSIM, because your local eSIM works really better on your island than the international online eSIMs. Those international online eSIMs throttle data like it's nobody's business. Personal experience, I generally use 8 gigabytes of online data when I am here for a weekend. It is a lot. So now we're bringing corporate businesses into the fold as a part of the packaging. So the time you touch down, activate eSIM, I am connected. I can make calls, I can do whatever, because this is an island you need connection, because it's big and you need help. When you need help, you need to be able to get through. I drive down the road, whatever my fancy is, based on what I like to do as a traveler, I make a stop before I get to where I'm going. On that night, based on where you are, send me to somebody in your community to have a dinner or a nightcap or something, and you build it out. By the time you're finished building it out, you know that you've put 10 other businesses into this experience who would not normally be included in anything that is being done. Even if nobody buys the package, you want me to tell you what happens? They have read it and they have become familiar with 10 businesses that they did not know. So even if they book all of these things individually with other people, they now know to ask the question, hey, I saw that they had this thing on the site. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And that is when we talk about education and getting the information out, how we work on those things. So when we talk about packaging, this is kind of what we're looking at. Next slide. But in order to do this, we need to support it with technology, because I can't depend on you that cook, chef, bottle washer, all the things to sit down and be able to build the things that we need. So what we're working on is a piece of technology that supports the DDA and all of the campaigns that they run. We're looking at making sure it just says hotels, it will say accommodation because everybody's included, yes? All the accommodation, the car rentals, the activities, and then we go into packages where we can build these packages with the itineraries and we can create to our heart's content all of the information that we want to have put out. And all of these things can be bought with one transaction. You're not sending right now somebody who wants to book Dominica got to go to Expedia, they got to go to booking.com, they got to go to Airbnb, they have to go to all of these places to get all the information. We need to put it in one place so it is easy and so it's easy to convert. And this is what we're working on. And it goes hand in hand next, it goes hand in hand with supporting things like Cool Escapes, because right now many of you are not a part of this. But if we put everybody on the platform, then the DDA does not have to come back to you and say, hey, look, I'm doing something, can you do something? No, that's no longer your responsibility. It now becomes automatic inclusion. So when we put you all up, when the DDA creates Cool Escapes and they say, you know what, I want a wellness tranche, I want an adventure tranche, then we sit down and we pull all the things together and we give it to the guests so that then they can either buy it as one or they can split it up and do whatever they want. And now your primary responsibility becomes taking care of your guests, because that is what you should be doing, making sure that the business at you is taken care of, as opposed to trying to figure out and manipulate all of these systems to see what happens then. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you very much.
That was a lot. Can we go slowly through this? Are you saying Discover Dominica will have these packages? I
am saying that in the last leg of my life, I started to work on some tourism technology. And we have tourism technology available that can help Discover Dominica achieve the things that needs to be achieved. And that is what we will test to make sure it works for everybody, because we have something already. To build technology to the level that we want is going to be time consuming and cost intensive. And we already have that technology. The technology that we have even for allows you to actually put restaurants on it, all the people in the neighborhood. It gives you, if we wanted to launch a rewards program so people spend more money on the island and redeem stuff, we have the ability to do all of that. Because it already exists, it can be tailor-made to everything that you guys want. And that is what we are working towards. So in the next, we'll start testing some properties to load them up by the middle of April. This consultancy ends on May 31st. By the end of May, we'll be able to stand here and say, hey, here's a sample of some of the things that we've been able to create. But all of this requires your input and your feedback. So if you live in an area and you know there's stuff that we're missing, make sure that we have it so that we can do it. And thank you very much for listening to me babble on and on and on and on and on and on.
Thank you so much, Jose. I think right now we need a little break for us to take it all in and process. So we invite you to, have a little break, 15 minutes, and then we will regroup and get to NBD.